wrist like a good boy."
"This was a trap, then?" said Weems.
"Right," said Foltz. "We wanted to get you to talk, and you certainly did. The only problem now is to find the bodies. What did you plan to do with Carney and me? Get us to shoot each other?"
"No," said Weems simply.
"I'll tell you this," said Foltz. "We respected hypnotism enough not to take any chances. There's another detective right outside the door."
Weems had not yet held out his thin wrist like a good boy. "I don't believe you," he said.
"Fred,"
Foltz called to the detective on the staircase outside.
"Come on in, so Rumpelstiltskin can believe in you."
In came the third detective, a pale, moon-faced, huge young Swede. Carney and Foltz were elated and smug. The man named Fred didn't share their delight. He was worried and watchful, had his gun drawn. "Please," Weems said to Foltz, "tell him to put his gun away."
"Put your gun away, Fred," said Foltz.
"You guys are really all right?" said Fred. Carney and Foltz laughed.
"Fooled you too, eh?"
said Foltz. Fred didn't laugh.
"Yeah, you sure did,"
he said. He looked closely at Carney and Foltz, did it impersonally, as though they were department store dummies. And Carney and Foltz, in their moment of triumph, really did look like dummies. Stiff, waxen, with mortuary smiles. "For the love of God," Weems said to Foltz, "tell him to put his gun away."
"For the love of God," said Foltz, "put the gun away, Fred."
Fred didn't do it.
I don't think you guys know what you're doing," he said.
"That's the funniest thing I ever heard," said Weems. Carney and Foltz burst out laughing. They laughed so hard and long that their bellies ached, and their weeping eyes bugged, and they gasped for air. "That's enough," said Weems, and they stopped laughing instantly, became department store dummies again.
"They are hypnotized," said Fred, backing away.
"Certainly," said Weems. "You've got to understand what sort of a house you're in. Nothing is seen, said, felt, or done here that I don't want seen, said, felt, or done."
"Come on," said Fred, queasily, waving his gun. "Wake 'em up."
"Straighten your tie," said Weems.
"I said wake 'em up," said Fred.
"Straighten your tie," said Weems. Fred straightened his tie. "Thank you," said Weems. "Now I'm afraid I have rather frightening news for you, for all of you." Consternation filled every face. "A tornado is coming," said Weems. "It will blow you all away unless you handcuff your left hands to that steam radiator." The three detectives, clumsy with terror, handcuffed themselves to the radiator. "Throw your keys away, or you'll be struck by lightning," said Weems. Keys flew across the room. "The tornado missed you," said Weems. "You're safe now." The three detectives wept at their miraculous deliverance. "Pull yourselves together, gentlemen," said Weems. "I have an announcement to make." The three were avid for the news. "I'm going to leave you," said Weems. "In fact, I'm going to leave everything about this existence behind." He went to a mirror, tapped it with his knuckles. "I'm going to step through this mirror in a moment. You will see me and my reflection meet and blend, shrink to the size of a pinhead. The pinhead will grow again, not as me and my reflection, but as my reflection alone. You will then see my reflection walk away from you down the long, long corridor. See the corridor I'm going to walk down?" The three nodded. "You will see me pass through the mirror," said Weems. "When I say the words, black magic. When I say the words, white magic, you will see me reappear in every mirror in this room. You will shoot at each of those images until every mirror is broken. And when I say goodbye, gentlemen, you will shoot each other down." Weems strolled to the attic door. Nobody watched him do it. All eyes were on the mirrors he said he was going to pass through. Black magic, said Weems softly.
There he goes,
cried Foltz. Like going through a door, said Carney.
God help us,
said Fred. Weems stepped out of the ballroom and onto the stairs. He left the door open a crack. White magic, he said.
There he is,
said Foltz. All around us, said Carney.
Get him,
said Fred. There was a pandemonium of shots and yells and shattering glass. Weems waited for the silence that would tell him that all mirrors had been broken, that it was time at last to say goodbye. The farewell was poised on his lips when bullets ripped through him and the door against which he leaned. Weems sank dying to the staircase, about to roll all the way down it. He was not thinking of the lifeless road to come. He was remembering too late that on the other side of the ballroom door had been a mirror.
This ends Hall of Mirrors, narrated by Henry Stroger. And now, The Nice Little People, narrated by Barbara Rosenblatt.
It was a hot, dry, glaring July day that made Lowell Swift feel as though every germ and sin in him were being baked out forever. He was riding home on a bus from his job as a linoleum salesman in a department store. The day marked the end of his 7th year of marriage to Madeline, who had the car and who, in fact, owned it. He carried red roses in a long green box under his arm. The bus was crowded, but no women were standing, so Lowell's conscience was unencumbered. He sat back in his seat and crackled his knuckles absently and thought pleasant things about his wife. He was a tall, straight man with a thin, sandy mustache and a longing to be a British colonel. At a distance, it appeared that his longing had been answered in every respect, save for a uniform. He seemed distinguished and purposeful, but his eyes were those of a wistful panhandler, lost, baffled, inordinately agreeable. He was intelligent and healthy, but decent will point